my beautiful choppers! How are you guys today? Thank you for joining me for another edition of We're in the Cut with Chop It Up. I said we're in the cut with Chop It Up. I said we're in the cut with Chop It Up. I hope you guys are having an awesome day. I am going to jump right into it, guys. I'm going to give my 2 cents on the story of the missing soldier, Vanessa Guillen. Yes, you guys, it's been all over the airways. I'm sure you've heard of it. And if you hadn't, we're going to jump right into it. Now, Vanessa is a 20-year-old. Her professional title is a private first class. She's a soldier in the U.S. Army. She's 20 years old. She was born September 30th, 1999. She has a mole on the left side of her cheek, and she has 3 tattoos on her left arm. Well, Vanessa mysteriously disappeared on the night of April 22nd, guys. She was in the Regimental Engineer Squadron headquarters, and that is located on the Forthood Army base. And she was last seen in the parking lot arriving there. Now, this was her job. This is where she worked. On the night in question, she was not supposed to show up at work because she was off, but she was called into work and she went. So now we're thinking that she was lured there by someone. She was last seen wearing a black t-shirt, light purple leggings, and black Nike tennis shoes. Yes. So let's get into what Forthood is, okay? It was first resurrected in September of 1942. It was going to be used for like the tank destruction arena, like those big tanks that blow up everything in the wars and everything. And it is 250,000 acres wide. Okay. So it would be relatively easy to get lost in a place, you would think. Yes, but they have such a tight hold on, a military base that they know the comings and goings of everyone that, comes and goes from within the base. Now, this was at the height of, the Rona, outbreak. So when they usually have 4 entrances open to get in and get out, they closed it down where it was just one entrance in and out, to limit the exposure of people getting on the base. So the day she went to work, she was never heard from again. Now, this military base has, a lot of bad stigma surrounding it. I do know in the last years, like in 2009, there was a psychiatrist named Nadal Malik Hassan. He opened fire in the Soldier Readiness Center, and he killed like 13 people and wounded 30 people. And he was ultimately shot, arrested, but he lived and he went to prison. And in 2013, he was convicted of all charges and he was put to death. And then fast forwarded in 2011, the guy, Nader Jason Abdo or whatever, he had a failed plot to go on a shooting spree there. It was just crazy. So I know that speaking, to some of the people that did live on that base and reading some of their, testimonies, they said it was a very eerie place to live and that it was surrounded by mystery and bad things happened to people that were on that base. But anyway, moving right along, guys. The family kept, saying that there was something wrong. Something is wrong. She's not answering her telephone. She's not reaching out to us. And they had a very close relationship. So they kept in touch with Vanessa, a lot. And being as though she got stationed in Texas, where in Fort Worth, that was like 3 hours, 3.5 hours away from my home. So she went home, drove there every weekend to see her boyfriend Juan and her sister Myra and her mother Gloria all the time. So when they didn't hear from her, they got concerned and worried, and they called a sergeant there, and he was in charge of, the coming and going of the people in his platoon on that night. And they said that they haven't heard from her since noon that day. And they have a lot of check-ins, guys. They have one, I know, at 9 a.m. and one at 3 p.m. And because of the Rona outbreak, it was on lockdown from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. So she would have to come back on the grounds by 10 p.m. And she never did make it back. And the family was like, they're not telling us anything. They're not giving us any, information. Where's our daughter? They want justice. They don't know what's going on. So the family finally got to the point where they got the congressional investigation going on to find their missing child. She's the last seen on that complex, and her car was still there. And they found, later they found her car keys, her wallet, her ID, and her room key in the armory room where she was working. And the only thing that was missing was her and her cell phone. So we're going to fast forward it now to today, into, July. Now, they found the remains of a young man that went missing back in August 2019 by the name of Gregory Morales. Now, Gregory Morales, he was due to get out of the Army in September, and he went missing August 19th, and nobody really gave his story much, attention either. And his mother was outraged, trying to get help, started a Facebook page, and she got no help. So this week they found his remains, which heightened the level of anxiousness to find out where Vanessa Guillen is located. So they went on a major search for her, and come to find out now, y'all, after all this time and this woman being missing since April, that now a man named Aaron Robinson confessed to killing Vanessa, hitting her multiple times in the head with a hammer, y'all. Okay, and 2 witnesses said that on that day, April 22nd, they saw Aaron Robinson loading his car up with a big tote container and putting it in the back. So we're assuming that those were the remains of Vanessa at this time, because the autopsies haven't come back, because they have found the remains of another person. We're assuming that these are Vanessa's, because there has been another woman that has been formally charged, guys, in the disappearance of Vanessa, along with Aaron Robinson, and her name is Cecily Agular. She is the girlfriend of Aaron Robinson and the ex-wife of another Army soldier on base there at Forthood. Okay? So, Aaron, confesses, and when he's confronted and the, people go there to arrest him, the federal marshals, he commits suicide. Okay, so the piece of trash is right where he belongs, dead and gone. And now Cecily is left holding the bag. She put out a 5-page statement today, of where the body remains of Vanessa would be found in 3 separate places. They went to that location and they did find remains, and the body was found, and it was and burnt. So this is just horrible. But the medical examiners have not completely 100% positively identified these as the remains of Vanessa, but we're all going to take a 100% guess that because Cecily told us where these remains were going to be found, and they went there and they are there, that these are Vanessa's. Cecily Aguilar is being charged with 1 count of conspiracy to tamper with evidence and is alleged to have helped Aaron Robinson with the disposal of Vanessa's body, y'all. This is the most horrible story in a while. And I just want to let you know that their cell phones were together on the night of April 23rd, because he went back to dispose of the body on April 26th. So they are saying that the cell phones are helping to pinpoint the fact that she had something to do with it. I hope she gets life. I blessings out to Gregory Morales 19. I hope we dig into a little more of your background. Maybe I will definitely do a story on you next to see what's going on, what the FBI are going to do about your disappearance and your murder, being as though you were last seen on this same Army base as Vanessa, and you both two are dead as of now. So guys, tell me what you think in the comments, please. And we pray for you, Vanessa Guillen, and prayers go out to your family, and rest in peace. All right, guys, thank you for joining me for another official edition of You're in the Cut with Chop It Up. I said you're in the cut with Chop It Up. I said you're in the cut with Chop It Up. I'll see y'all around for something. Bye, babies.